Having launched our attack and taken the enemy completely by surprise, our assault had gone in hard. The enemy forces had been sent reeling, able to put up very little resistance against our advance, and we had had the opportunity to strike at strategic targets all over the country, further diminishing the enemy's chances of fighting back against our forces, ravaging the country and advancing north towards North Pascali airbase. Enemy losses had been incredibly high, and we suspected that it was only a matter of time before they surrendered. The great Pascali nation defeated in a single day. On their north coast, our second amphibious landing of the operation was now going in. This would outflank their last of their defence around North Pascali airbase, and we were confident that it would be the final nail in their coffin. And so once again we were tasked with protecting land forces and continuing to strike at strategic targets where possible. Enemy attempts at regaining air superiority were failing rather miserably, and so most of our aircraft were now attacking with air-to-ground ordnance and very little in the way of air-to-air ordnance. But the Pascali had once already attacked our ground forces with a DARKREACH bomber, causing huge amount of casualties and damage to our forces advancing north. And now it seems they were trying the same tactic again. One of my squadron mates, Bisque Baronet, had decided he would gun this enemy bomber down, something he was able to do with relative ease, and right in the path of our advancing ground forces, who, it was very likely, were his targets.
Right on front of the ground. That must have been
a good morale boost, yeah. Because they were probably his target as well, if the last bombing one was anything to go by.
Our attacks on North Pascali airbase intensified as our ground forces closed in for the kill. Victory was close, but the Pascali had another trick up their sleeve: their navy.
Okay.
Two powerful naval battle groups built around a pair of aircraft carriers appeared on the northern horizon. Aircraft were being launched, and their destroyers and corvettes began to engage our own naval forces in the area.
Dynamos launching. Oh, one of our ships is capsized, and the carrier's driven right over.
One of our corvettes had been badly struck and had capsized right in the path of our aircraft carrier. But as the battle was growing extremely desperate, our carrier had no choice but to simply continue on its course, running down who knows how many men. A new plan was conceived to attack the enemy fleet, and so it was time to deploy the heavies. 3 DARKREACH strategic bombers were prepared for launch at Vigil K Naval Air Station, tasked with launching a low-level, close-range missile attack against the
This is the levels
fleet.
that militaries will go through to get fucking photo opportunities as well. Right, moving then. Let's go. Oh shit, drifted across the runway. Not paying attention.
where you can. Oh, I can't either. Alright. Is it like that for everything?
Each aircraft were carrying 24 Tusco B high explosive missiles, firing them from extremely close range in a direct line of sight shoot, and our first targets were the vessels making up the northern battle group. Historians would call this attack overkill for the number of munitions our aircraft were carrying just to destroy a handful of ships, but victory was so close. It was hoped that one or two massive devastating attacks would finally tip the enemy over the edge.
Yep, ready when you are.
We're gonna get pretty close.
Shit, spot my microphone, good.
Hope you're comfortable with flying low.
Yeah, man. No worries.
If there's any missiles, put your jammer on. We're flying low. Ooh, the destroyer just launched. Who's all the way in the back? Is that Claw?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright.
Locked on.
I'll tell you, you have to launch first. Alright, wait. Go, Claw, launch.
Missiles incoming.
Alright, everybody launch.
Our attack was devastating. Not a single enemy warship were able to escape being struck by Tusco B missiles as they come flooding in over the enemy fleet. Their air defences were utterly overwhelmed, and most importantly of all, the enemy aircraft carrier was badly struck and left in a sinking condition.
The annex hit. Alright.
Our bombers were ordered to land, rearm, and go again. And this we did, this time targeting the other naval battlegroup, sailing into Pascali Sound. The battle around North Pascali Air Base had at this point reached its climax, and the enemy could not hold out for much longer. Once again, our formation flew towards our target relatively low, and using the distant terrain to shield ourselves from the enemy radar spikes. The plan was to fly west to east across the island and then turn north up Pascali Sound and so target the enemy fleet.
Are you ready to turn left?
Yep.
However, all was not as it seemed.
We're gonna fly a little bit.
Reports that the enemy battlegroup had entered the Sound were false. Instead, the enemy battlegroup had turned west and were now sailing across the northern coastline. And not having the enemy fleet on our data link for want of a airborne early warning or a command and control aircraft, we, the pilots carrying out this last massive attack, were not aware that our targets had steered away from where we had been briefed that
Oh,
they
we
would
don't
be.
have the ships on data.
Ooh. I don't have a data link. My map is completely broken.
Yeah.
Mind you, we've got a ship.
Baron,
Dynamo.
can you see them?
Oh, I see
Baron,
them.
can you see them?
Yeah. They're not in the Sound at all. They're up the north of the island. They are not far off where the last group was, according to my map.
So they're on the left.
Yeah, they're like just northwest of North Pascali. Yeah.
They got landing craft. That's not good. They're gonna capture the beach.
It appeared that the enemy fleet
Alright.
were preparing to launch landing craft to retake our beachhead from the seaward
I'm
side,
gonna fly a little bit higher.
and the enemy warships had moved west to cover this operation. Time now was a pressing matter. We had to destroy those ships before their own amphibious landing could begin.
Don't charge that. Okay.
With my aircraft having the only working data link in our small squadron,
Slow down.
I would lead us onto the target, for my comrades could not see the
We
target
need
at
to
this
look
time.
around.
And so with the target visible to my comrades, we strung out into attack formation, prepared
Alright,
to launch our
whoever's in the
missiles.
back, launch.
No, that's me this time. Firing
launch.
now.
And go. Ooh, it's straight perfect. Jesus. Oh my gosh. Mission successful.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Most expensive fireworks display I've ever seen.
Oh, the
Almost
shards
all
are
our
hitting
missiles
the
were
outcast.
targeting the aircraft carrier, as most of our fleet had already engaged the enemy's escorts, and what remained of the enemy fleet had been overwhelmed by our attack.
Oh, yeah.
The enemy aircraft carrier, struck by several missiles, had exploded spectacularly, leaving very little trace of its existence left on the water. North Pascali Airbase had also been taken.
Yeah.
The entirety of Pascali Island was now in our hands. All that remained left for us to do was to
Now you
land.
have double the
Fortunately,
length.
our land
I also
forces had
have-
set up a new airbase on the northwest of the island, and it was here that I decided to land and so end my sortie and end my part in this operation.
Ooh, I want to film that.
With all our strategic bombers landing successfully, we expected to hear the news of the enemy surrender, but that did not come. The war had only just begun, and despite the enemy's immense amount of losses, the war would continue.